Hey, I don't know if you are the type of person that really values being quiet, but it's a great, and I mean great, benefit to you because it helps to produce or introduce clarity of thought. Last week I did a 5-day coaching with a very well known coach, and I'm sure if I said his name, you would know who I'm talking about. But the point is, I'm a coach, but I can't coach myself. And I may have alluded to this last week because I did a clip last week talking about it. But quiet is so important. So, what does that have to do with my last week's training and things of that nature? Well, what I am doing, I took several pages of notes, but I'm at the end of that notebook. So, what I did is I went out and bought 3 or 4 new notebooks, and I'm rewriting my notes in a brand new notebook. And why am I doing that? It's because I want the information to sink in. I really want it to sink into a level, to a point that I almost know it, if I don't, like the back of my hand. I want to know it extremely well so that when I ask questions of the coach, when I'm in the arena that provided that information, the questions I ask won't be elementary, but more advanced questions, intelligent questions. And the quiet part, how do the two work together? Being quiet allows what you've read and what you wrote the first time, it allows it to sink in as I'm writing it the second time. And it's color coded, but that's, everyone doesn't need to color code their notes, but I do because I want each thing that's significant to stand out for me. And I would highly recommend, when you are alone, when you have downtime, if you're not reading a book, read a book, highlight things in the book, take notes on what you read. There's so many things that can help us if we lend ourselves to those opportunities. I got my laptop here. I'm not even in my office. I'm in my kitchen because this is where I feel comfortable today or at this moment. So, where do you feel comfortable? Can you appreciate the benefit of quiet? Because some people, they have to have the TV on in every room. They have to have the radio on. They need the gaming system on. They gotta lay on social media, right? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those things, but what I'm clearly suggesting is that those devices and those practices don't always allow for clarity of thought because you're engaged. There's some noise, there's some visual, there's something happening in and around you that prevents a linear or singular train of thought. It's one thing to be a linear thinker, but when you're receiving information, sometimes it's good to be linear in your learning because one way in and hopefully it stays in. When you got stuff coming at you from all angles, you don't know what you're going to hold on to. And for me, I'm the type of person that I like structure. And I don't know if I was always that way, but I know in this latter part of my life, or the last several years, structure is important because let's face it, the world is chaotic, right? Sometimes going and driving, being with other people can be chaotic on the highways, in the metros, on the buses, when you're shopping. There's always a bunch of people around us with their own agendas. So for me, I can really appreciate structure. I can really appreciate the benefit of, having that focus, having the opportunity to receive information one way in so that I can hold on to it. And if I can hold on to it, I'll remember it a lot better. And if I can remember it a lot better, I'm probably going to execute with that new learning or that reconfirmed learning. And that's why quiet is so important. Now, If you're not quiet, I can't really provide any answers because I like the opposite. But if you're not quiet, I would say that, you know, you only have yourself to blame, but let's not play the blame game. Let's try a new approach on what's going to help us become the better versions of ourselves. And it really doesn't matter what your industry is. It doesn't matter, even if it's for a recreational or personal purpose. If you're doing things differently, you can get different results. If you only see life and see things one way, well, it's going to limit the results you get. So consider doing things differently to give yourself an opportunity to get different results. And hopefully that makes sense to you, because I know it makes sense to me. But we're working on some programs, some coaching modules, and some different things to provide not just myself, but many people that I work with, people that I have worked with, and some new people that I will be working with. We're looking forward to creating some modules that will help them on their journey. As they say, a journey of 1,000 miles always starts with the very first step. And we want you to believe in yourself and to believe yourself the very first time you walk out on faith and do something different, because we want you to get the results that you truly deserve. And you cannot get the results that you truly deserve unless you take the first step, unless you try something different to get different results, and until you begin to really learn who you are and invest in yourself. So as we move forward, we're hoping that you can move forward. And if there's anything, again, I can do, please reach out to me. Ask me questions about your journey. Ask me questions about what it is that I can possibly do to help you get where you want to be. But remember, do not underestimate the ability to be quiet or to be in a quiet space, in a quiet environment. Like there's no one here. Hello? Anybody here? Anybody upstairs? Downstairs? I'm here alone. And I tell you, it's wonderful at times to have time alone. I love people. I've done keynotes, workshops, all this and that, author signings, and that's what I do. But the point is, can you appreciate your own company? You never know what you're going to get. Give yourself a chance. Be part of the energy, and most importantly, radiate the brain and change the game.